Hey, what's going on, guys? So I just wanted to make this quick little video. I picked up this book the other day. It's Criminal Law and Procedures, the Manual for Michigan Police Officers. I've been finding some pretty interesting material in there, which I'm gonna do some other videos on that over the next couple of days. But I wanted to hit one of the sections right out of the constitutional law section. It has to do with the Declaration of Independence. What I found interesting about this, because you see a lot of these, especially these attorneys and majority of our public servants, they don't really comprehend, the hierarchy and where our constitutions came from, why they were designed. And a lot of people like to say that the Declaration of Independence doesn't hold any weight, except for the fact the Declaration of Independence is the original founding document to establish why we even have a constitution to start with, right? So this reads, the Declaration of Independence is the thought underlying the text of the Constitution, and it is safe to read the letter of the Constitution in the spirit of the Declaration of Independence. This is Gulf, Colorado, and Santa Fe Railway Company versus Ellis. This is done in 1897. So what a lot of people don't seem to realize is that you go through the Declaration of Independence. It establishes that we have unalienable rights, which means cannot be touched, okay, that come from our Creator, and that we established these constitutions, government, to protect our individual liberties, right, which is our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Now, the three main functions of the Constitution, once we created the Constitution, right, the first function would be to establish the framework of government to ensure proper checks and balances. So within our republic, we have the legislative, executive, and judicial branches, right? And this is why we have the separation of powers clause, right? So that no one branch has all the power, right? Because our founders, they just broken away from all of that tyranny from the king, right? This is exactly why they established the three branches, the separation of powers, and that the people's individual rights, okay, not collective rights, individual rights, are reserved from the general powers of our public servants. Now, the second function of our constitutions, right, is to delegate and assign power to the government. So within the three branches of government, okay, we're delegating very limited powers to each branch of government. So when our public servants willingly and voluntarily agree to take an oath of office to sit in one of our seats to get paid with our money, they are agreeing to be governed under the limited delegated powers that we are allowing them to have. Now, the third function of the Constitution is to restrain powers of governmental agents, our public servants, in order to protect individual rights. Now, I bring up individual rights, okay? I'm going to go to Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 29. To guard against transgression of the high powers herein delegated, we declare that everything in this Bill of Rights is accepted out of the general powers of government and shall forever remain inviolate, and all laws contrary thereto or to the following provisions shall be void. Okay? Void from inception. So this is extremely crucial for people to understand. Our unalienable rights that come from our Creator, we're reserving them to ourselves outside of our public servants' limited delegated powers. So anything that they do that comes in conflict with that, it's void because we never gave them any authority over the people's individual rights. Now here I'm going to hit Arizona's Constitution, Article 1, Section 2. All political powers inherent in the people, and governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. Our public servants, right? Our government is being operated through the consent of the governed. That is those who are voluntarily agreeing to sit in our seats as public servants, okay? And it is established to protect and maintain individual rights. So we just seen that our rights come from our Creator, our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. They're reserved from the general powers of our government. And government's, one of its main functions is to protect and maintain individual rights. Now let's think about this. How in the world is our public servant sitting there claiming they have all these ordinances and policies and rules and these things they claim are to be laws that are infringing upon the people's individual rights when they were never granted any power over the people's rights? Now, clearly, we see them trampling all over the people's individual rights, right, our liberties, and our pursuit of happiness every single day. Now, this is exactly what our founders warned us about and why it is so crucial to understand the Declaration of Independence and why they founded things the way that they did. Now, before I get into Connecticut's Constitution and read this section, I want to tie this directly to the Declaration of Independence. So I'm going to pull this up. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, public servants voluntarily agreeing to sit in our seats as public servants, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles, and organizing its powers in such form as to them, as to us, however the way that we want our government, okay, is that to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Now here we have Connecticut's Constitution, okay? All political power, again, showing you, we hold all the power. All of it, every bit of it, we hold. We delegate powers, and any delegated powers that we give to our public servants, we can take away. All political powers inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit, and they have at all times, we have the right at all times, an undeniable and indefeasible right to alter their form of government in such manner as they may think expedient. So think about this. Our founders knew that obviously even these judges can become corrupt. So when all three branches are colluding and depriving the people of their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, right? We have the right, the absolute right to alter, reform, or abolish government and institute a whole new government that will secure the people's safety and happiness. That is, right, this people need to understand. We hold this power. Okay, we need to remind our public servants, they're the ones voluntarily sitting in these seats. They are our employees, and what they're doing every single day is giving us the right to alter, reform, and abolish this current form of government because of how tyrannical this system has become. Now, this last provision I want to hit is out of Wyoming's Constitution, okay? Because again, we like to see our public servants not understanding what individual rights are and why our self-governing republic was established. And they also like to claim that all we have is these collective rights, where this is why they tote democracy, right? So that they say that as long as, right, the vast majority of the population is complying with any law, if it infringes upon your right, well, it must be lawful. That's not how our system was established, and this is exactly why our God-given liberties, our rights, were reserved from their general powers. And they're so secured that it doesn't matter, even if 99.9% of the population wants to rule or comply with something that violates your individual rights, it's not lawful. It has no lawful bearing over your individual rights. And they're here, this is Article 1, Section 7 of Wyoming's Constitution. Absolute and arbitrary power over the lives, liberty, and property of free men exists nowhere in a republic, not even in the largest majority. So it does not matter. If everybody in the country is complying with something that infringes upon your individual rights, it is void from inception.